Let's begin with something obvious that most people ignore. What you say matters. Words are not neutral. They are not harmless. They are powerful tools or weapons depending on how you use them. And if you're careless with your words, you invite chaos into your life and the lives of others. Think about that. Every time you open your mouth, you are either creating order or disorder. There is no neutral ground. Human beings are wired for language. Our societies, our laws, our relationships, they all depend on the precise and meaningful use of speech. So when you speak casually, thoughtlessly, or worse, destructively, you are not just being rude, you are disrupting the very fabric of social trust. Gossip, sarcasm, passive aggression, constant complaining. These things might seem small, even entertaining at times, but over time they corrode trust, degrade your integrity, and sabotage the quality of your relationships. You need to treat your words as if they carry weight, because they do. You can build a person up with a sentence, and you can destroy someone's confidence with a single careless remark. That's not an exaggeration. A child can carry the burden of one harsh sentence from a parent for the rest of their life. A friend can lose hope because of a joke that cut too deep. And yet people speak as if what they say floats off into the air and disappears. It doesn't. It lands. It leaves a mark. But the responsibility goes deeper than that. You must also recognize that your words shape you. When you lie, especially when you lie to yourself, you fracture your own perception of reality. You disconnect from truth. And when you repeat it, when you rehearse falsehoods, or mask your real thoughts behind polite dishonesty or self-serving stories, you become the kind of person who can no longer trust even their own voice. Now, consider the opposite. What happens when you discipline your speech? When you tell the truth, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, you build a foundation inside yourself. You become someone people can trust. You become someone you can trust. Your words begin to carry strength, clarity, and weight because they are not thrown around carelessly. They are chosen, tested, and delivered with intention. This is not about being quiet, it's about being responsible. Speak when what you say is necessary, when it moves something forward, when it reflects your highest values. Don't weaponize your tongue to win arguments or to hurt. Use it to clarify, to build, to repair, to lead. So control your mouth. Think before you speak. Say what you mean, and don't speak what isn't true. Because your words are not just sounds. They are the blueprint for your reality and the evidence of your character. One of the most dangerous lies you can believe is that your emotions are an accurate compass for truth. That because you feel something strongly, it must be real, valid, and worthy of action. But that's not how life works. And that's certainly not how maturity works. The reality is far more sobering. Your emotions are often reactions, not revelations. They are momentary, unstable, and easily manipulated. And if you let them drive the car, don't be surprised when your life ends up in a ditch. Anger, fear, sadness, shame, these are all deeply human experiences, but they are not instructions. Just because you feel rage doesn't mean you should speak from it. Just because you feel anxious doesn't mean the world is ending. Just because you feel insulted doesn't mean someone meant to harm you. Your mood is not a divine signal. It's often the residue of poor sleep, bad food, unresolved memories, or a misinterpretation of reality. If you let it run the show, you hand over your agency to something that doesn't deserve it. You must understand this. Discipline is the only defense against emotional tyranny. Children cry, scream, and break things when they're upset because they don't yet know how to govern themselves. But if you're an adult still doing this, maybe not out loud but through silence, sarcasm, withdrawal, or aggression, then it's time to confront the brutal fact that your emotions are ruling you instead of serving you. The more you indulge your mood as truth, the more you reinforce a false identity. You become someone who believes they are only as safe as they feel, only as strong as they feel, only as kind as they feel. But feelings change. They are weather. And if you let yourself become defined by them, you remain unstable, reactive, and easily manipulated by others, especially those who understand how to provoke you. What you need is pause, not suppression. Pause. You notice the feeling, you name it, and then you choose your response. That's what separates an impulsive life from a principled one. There is incredible strength in restraint. There is real freedom in not reacting immediately, because when you slow down and engage your higher mind, your values, your goals, your deeper commitments, you act from truth, not from turbulence. And let me be clear, your emotions matter. They're messengers, but they're not kings. They tell you something is happening, but they don't tell you what to do about it. That's your job. You interpret, you weigh, and you respond from who you want to be, not from who the moment tempts you to be. So the next time your mood flares up, pause, breathe, don't obey it blindly. Question it, challenge it, and choose a response that aligns with your values, not your temporary state. Because the person who reacts to everything they feel is not free. They're a slave to every storm that passes through them. Money is not just a currency, it's a mirror. And what it reflects is not your worth, not your luck, not even your level of education. It reflects your discipline. People believe the myth that if they only had more income, their problems would go away. But that's not how it works. Because money doesn't fix poor character, it magnifies it. A person who is reckless with $100, zero, the numbers change, the behavior doesn't, unless the person does. What you do with your money reveals how you govern your life. Do you spend more than you earn? That's not an income problem, it's a responsibility problem. Are you constantly borrowing against your future to comfort your present? Then you're choosing emotional indulgence over long-term security. That's not financial strategy. That's avoidance. That's impulse masking itself as need. People often claim that they respect their money, but their behavior tells another story. They chase dopamine through purchases. They use credit like it's pretend. They justify buying things they can't afford to impress people who aren't paying attention. They convince themselves that they deserve things instead of asking whether they've earned them. That's not self-respect, that's self-deception. And understand this, money is a test. It asks you, can you delay gratification? Can you resist impulse? Can you live with less today to secure more tomorrow? If you can't answer yes to those questions, you'll live in a loop, no matter how much you earn. Because the trap isn't in the numbers, it's in your habits. It's in your emotional relationship with spending. Discipline with money is not about becoming stingy or obsessive. It's about becoming intentional. Every dollar has a direction. It's either working for you or working against you. You should know where it's going and, more importantly, why it's going there. Mindless spending is not neutral. It's destructive. It erodes your future and inflates your anxiety. If you want real freedom, then build systems of restraint. Budget, track, delay, prioritize. And you don't do those things because you're broke. You do them because you're wise. Because you know that respect for money is respect for the effort it took to earn it. Because you know that dignity isn't in what you can buy, it's in the self-control you show when you could buy, but don't. Stop blaming your paycheck, stop blaming the economy. Start taking ownership. Small choices compound. Every saved dollar is a vote for stability. Every avoided impulse is a step towards sovereignty. You can't control the market, but you can control your behavior. That's where real financial power begins. So don't wait until you make more to start respecting what you have. Respect comes first. The wealth follows, not the other way around. One of the most dangerous assumptions you can make is that your mind is always telling you the truth, that your thoughts are reliable just because they come from inside you. But the mind isn't inherently wise. It's not automatically your ally. In fact, if you leave it untrained, undisciplined, and unquestioned, it will become your worst enemy. Your mind is a survival machine, not a truth machine. It evolved to detect danger, to anticipate threats, to avoid pain. That's helpful when you're walking through a forest at night. But in a modern world where threats are abstract, social rejection, financial stress, uncertainty, your mind can start to sound the alarm over things that aren't actually dangerous. It floods you with anxiety, shame, hesitation, not because it's right, but because it's reactive. And if you believe every thought that passes through your head, you will live in chaos. You will act on fear that doesn't serve you. You will defend assumptions that aren't accurate. You will sabotage relationships based on interpretations that were never verified. You'll internalize narratives that were planted by other people, parents, teachers, critics. And you'll carry them like facts, when in truth, they were just echoes of their fears. The disciplined mind is not the loudest one. It's the most trained. And training your mind means doing something most people never do. Observe it. Sit with it. Question it. Just because a thought arises doesn't mean it deserves your agreement. Learn to ask, is this thought useful? Is it true? Does it move me closer to who I want to be or farther? Most of your internal dialogue is automatic. It's old, it's repetitive, and often it's based on incomplete data. Things you heard, things you felt, things you assumed at vulnerable moments. And if you don't challenge it, it will define the ceiling of your life. Not because you're not capable, but because you believed the wrong voice. Training your mind isn't about eliminating doubt or fear. It's about recognizing that you have another voice, a higher voice that can speak back. That's the voice of logic, conscience, vision, and purpose. And it must be strengthened through journaling, through meditation, through intentional reflection, through disciplined thinking. The untrained mind will drag you into chaos. The trained mind will walk you toward order. But make no mistake, it's hard work. You will have to learn to ignore the tempting lies that whisper comfort and take the uncomfortable path of self-confrontation. You'll need to choose clarity over emotion, responsibility over reaction. But that's the cost of freedom. Mental freedom doesn't come from believing everything you think. It comes from choosing what to believe and why. So, no, your mind is not always right. It's only as good as the structure you give it. Don't trust it blindly. Train it relentlessly. Because an undisciplined mind is a threat to your future. And a trained one, it's a weapon, a guide, a force. There's a profound misunderstanding in modern culture. This belief that if you're not constantly speaking, expressing, posting, or reacting, you're somehow irrelevant. But that belief is not only shallow, it's dangerous because it equates noise with value. It assumes that the loudest person in the room is the most important. But often, the opposite is true. Silence, when used deliberately, holds far more power than constant speech. Why? Because silence implies control. Control over your emotions, control over your impulses, control over your need to be heard. And that kind of control is rare. It requires self-awareness, it requires patience, it requires strength. Speaking is easy. Everyone can do it. But speaking when it matters, when it's necessary, when it's true, and when it's valuable, that takes maturity. You must understand your words are not infinite. They are finite resources. Every time you speak, you make a trade. You offer a piece of your mind, a portion of your credibility, a reflection of your thought process. And if you constantly flood the space around you with empty talk, you dilute your own influence. You teach people to ignore you because you've taught them that most of what you say doesn't need to be heard. Silence, on the other hand, builds tension. It commands attention. When you pause before speaking, you signal that what you are about to say is considered, and that gives your words gravity. People who master this are often underestimated until they speak. Then the room goes quiet. Why? Because their silence earned them respect before they ever opened their mouths. This principle is especially important in emotionally charged situations. When you're hurt or angry or under pressure, the temptation is to speak immediately, to defend, to lash out, to explain. But that reaction often makes things worse. You say things you don't mean. You reveal things you shouldn't. You trade long-term clarity for short-term relief. And the damage once done is hard to undo. Thinking more and speaking less doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming strategic. It means cultivating depth before expression. It means learning to sit with complexity, to allow yourself to formulate real insight before jumping to surface level responses. That's how people with real influence operate. They're not reactionary, they're intentional. And here's the paradox. The more you discipline your voice, the more powerful it becomes. The less you speak, the more people listen when you do. That's not silence born of fear, it's silence born of strength. You are choosing not to fill every space with noise. You are choosing to let meaning emerge from stillness. So stop rushing to speak. Stop trying to win conversations by volume. Be the person who thinks, who listens, who observes, and who speaks with precision. That kind of person becomes a source of order in a world filled with chaos. Remember, silence is not emptiness, it's potential. And in many cases, it speaks louder than words ever could. There's a lie that paralyzes more people than fear, more than failure, more than rejection, and it's this: I'll start when I feel ready. You hear it all the time. I'm not motivated yet. I'm waiting for clarity. I don't feel confident enough. But what if I told you that the feeling you're waiting for isn't coming? That readiness, as most people define it, is a trap, because it is. It's a dangerous illusion that keeps capable people stuck in delay and excuse. You don't feel your way into action, you act your way into feeling. That's the truth. The emotional state you think you need, confidence, certainty, courage, comes after you move, not before. You want to feel motivated to write? Start writing. You want to feel ready to speak up? Open your mouth. You want to feel strong? Do something hard. Because the emotion follows the effort, always. This is how human psychology works. Action generates momentum. Momentum breeds clarity. And clarity fuels confidence. But it starts with the movement, not the mood. If you sit around waiting for the perfect emotional conditions, you'll be waiting for years. Your feelings are not predictors of your potential, they're echoes of your past. They're conditioned responses to stress, risk, and the unknown. If you trust them blindly, they will talk you out of every worthy challenge. Consider this: how many opportunities have you delayed because you didn't feel ready? How many relationships, jobs, habits, or creative projects have you avoided simply because the idea of discomfort was stronger than your commitment to growth? That's not rationality. That's emotional dependency. That's letting fear masquerade as wisdom. You must learn to move regardless of how you feel. That's not denial. It's discipline. It's choosing values over moods, commitment over comfort. It's realizing that most breakthroughs in life don't come in moments of inspiration. They come in moments of resistance. When you're tired, when you're scared, when your mind is feeding you every excuse to turn back, and you push anyway. That's when your identity shifts. That's when strength is born. People often say, I just need to feel a bit more confident. No, you don't. You need to make a move. Confidence is not a precondition for action. It's a result of action. You do the hard thing, you survive it, and your nervous system learns that you're stronger than it thought. That's how growth actually works. You teach yourself who you are by how you respond to difficulty. So stop waiting for the mood to strike. Stop waiting for permission from your feelings. You don't need to feel brave to be brave. You just need to do the thing. Start before you're ready. Start while you're uncertain. Start while your hands shake. Because if you wait for the fear to disappear, you'll be waiting your whole life. Remember this, movement rewires the mind. One small step can disrupt years of paralysis. Action first, feeling second. That's how you reclaim your power. There's a pattern to human chaos. Most people aren't falling apart because life is too complex. They're falling apart because they haven't learned to govern the simple but foundational elements of their existence. 4 things in particular tend to either anchor your life or slowly dismantle it from the inside out. Your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. Master those and everything changes. Ignore them and you'll spend your life cleaning up messes you could have prevented. Start with the mouth. Your words shape your world. They create relationships, destroy trust, declare intent, conceal cowardice. What you say and what you don't say reveals your character. If you speak recklessly, impulsively, or manipulatively, don't be surprised when your life is surrounded by conflict. Discipline of the mouth isn't about silence, it's about responsibility. About knowing when to speak, how to speak, and why you're speaking at all. People who master their speech develop authority. People who don't erode it with every careless sentence. Then there's the mood. Emotion is powerful. It colors how you see, how you act, how you interpret the world, but it's not always accurate. Maturity means learning to feel something strongly and not obey it. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you need to lash out. Just because you're scared doesn't mean you need to retreat. Learning to pause, to regulate, to choose your response instead of being ruled by reaction, that's how emotional chaos turns into emotional strength. People who don't master their mood live in cycles. They repeat the same mistakes and call it fate. It's not fate, it's undisciplined emotion. Now, money. If you think your financial situation is just about how much you make, you've already missed the point. Money reflects structure. It reflects foresight, restraint, order. It reflects whether you honor the value of effort or throw it away for the illusion of comfort. You can't build anything meaningful in life, freedom, security, legacy, without respect for money. That respect doesn't start when you earn more. It starts when you realize that every financial decision is a moral one. It says something about your values, your priorities, your self-respect. And finally, the mind. Your thoughts are not sacred. They're not always accurate. Many of them are echoes of fear, insecurity, trauma, and conditioning. If you never challenge your thoughts, they will trap you in a cage you don't even know you're in. Mastering the mind doesn't mean having no fear. It means refusing to let fear be your compass. It means creating clarity through structure, journaling, reflection, disciplined analysis. It means training your mind to work for you, not against you. Now here's the truth. You don't need to master the world to build a meaningful life. You just need to master yourself. And the gateway to that mastery, these 4 M's. Mouth, mood, money, mind. When you get those in order, everything else starts to align. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. When you master the 4 M's, mouth, mood, money, and mind, you don't just take control of your life. You transform it. You stop being at the mercy of external circumstances and instead you become the architect of your future. The world will continue to throw challenges your way, but when you command your mouth, regulate your mood, respect your money, and train your mind, Those challenges become opportunities for growth, not obstacles. It's not about being perfect, it's about being disciplined. It's about making deliberate choices that align with who you want to be, not who you feel like in the moment. Every day presents a new chance to strengthen those 4 M's. The more you practice, the more power you reclaim from the chaos of life. So take responsibility, own your actions, don't wait for the right time or the perfect feeling. Start today. Master your mouth, master your mood, master your money, and master your mind. Because only when you do will you truly master your life.